Evolution didn't create balance, it created extremes. Some animals survive by becoming impossible to swallow, others carry toxins strong enough to kill in seconds. Some vanish in plain sight, and some don't run at all. They turn the attack itself into the predator's biggest mistake. These are 10 survival mechanisms so extreme, they almost don't seem real. And the last one on this list isn't even a fighter. It might be the strangest thing evolution ever built. 10. The Amazon milk frog. Here's something almost impossible to believe. Biting down on what looks like an easy meal can flood your mouth with poison before you even swallow. In the rainforest canopy of the Amazon basin, this frog looks soft, slow, barely worth the effort. That's exactly the mistake predators make. Beneath its skin sit parotid glands loaded with bioactive compounds, and the instant a predator's jaws close around it, those glands rupture, flooding the attacker's mouth with a substance that causes intense irritation, disorientation, and in some documented cases, temporary paralysis of the jaw muscles. How many bites does it usually take before a predator learns its lesson? Field studies on amphibian defensive secretions have recorded the answer as consistently one: a single failed attack, followed by permanent avoidance. No claws, no speed, no muscle, just a glandular reflex precise enough to write itself into a predator's memory for life. And that's the mildest defense on this entire list. 9. The hedgehog picture, a predator lunging in for the kill and finding nothing but a sealed, spiked ball where soft prey used to be. At the first sign of danger, 2 long strips of muscle running along the hedgehog's back contract simultaneously, cinching the skin shut like a drawstring bag. Limbs disappear. The face disappears. In under a second, an animal with almost no natural weapons becomes a sphere covered in roughly 5,000 keratin spines. Here's the real question. What actually decides the fight at this point? The predator's patience or the spines? Almost always the spines. Nighttime studies filming foxes and badgers attempting to unroll hedgehogs recorded far more abandoned attempts than successful ones. And there's a twist most people miss. Hedgehogs are known to seek out toad secretions and other irritants, chew them into a foam, and spread that foam across their own quills, turning a passive shield into an active chemical weapon. But total defense doesn't always come from soft tissue turning hard. Sometimes it comes from becoming something else entirely. 8. The turtle. Think about this. Trying to bite through something that isn't wearing armor, because the armor is its skeleton. A turtle's shell is fused ribs and vertebrae, reshaped over roughly 200 million years into one rigid structure. The moment danger appears, head, limbs, and tail retract inside it in a fraction of a second. Unless a predator can generate enough bite force to fracture bone directly, something almost nothing on Earth can do, there is no way in. Quick question. Is there a turtle that closes completely with zero exposed surface at all? Yes. Box turtles take it further, with a hinged plastron that seals shut like a door, leaving nothing behind for a predator to grab. The cost is brutal. That shell can account for a significant share of the turtle's total body weight, a permanent trade of speed for near-total invulnerability. The turtle doesn't survive by escaping danger. It survives by making escape irrelevant. None of this compares to a defense that doesn't even need contact to work. 7. The monarch butterfly. What if a single bite could rewrite the instincts of an entire species for generations without a single word passed down? The monarch's orange and black wings are a warning label, but the warning is only real because of what happens earlier. During its larval stage, the caterpillar feeds exclusively on milkweed and absorbs cardiac glycosides directly into its tissue, compounds that survive metamorphosis completely intact. So here's the mini question. Does the warning work the first time, or only after a predator learns the hard way? Only after. The first bird to ignore it gets intense bitterness, vomiting, and a toxic reaction strong enough to rewire behavior permanently. Naturalists tracking blue jays have documented individual birds refusing monarchs on sight for the rest of their lives after just one exposure. Eventually, the entire local population stops testing the taste. They react to the pattern before the attack even begins, and somehow this isn't even the strangest way nature has learned to escape. 6. The basilisk lizard. Most predators never expect what happens when the chase reaches water. When a predator closes in, the basilisk sprints straight for open water. Its elongated hind toes fan out on contact, striking the surface up to 20 times per second, trapping air pockets beneath each foot fast enough to outrun the pull of gravity. It doesn't sink. It runs up to 20 meters before it finally drops into a swim. High-speed camera studies confirmed exactly how it works. Not buoyancy, but raw mechanical speed, exploiting water's surface resistance. For a few seconds, it seems to ignore the limits most animals are bound by. Predators stop dead at the shoreline, watching prey disappear across a barrier they were never built to cross. But running away is easy compared to what's coming next. An animal that doesn't flee at all. 5. The porcupine. For a moment, picture a predator that survives the attack and dies from it 3 weeks later. Unlike almost everything else on this list, the porcupine doesn't hide and doesn't run. It turns and backs directly into the threat. Roughly 30,000 quills cover its body, each tipped with microscopic backward-facing barbs that work themselves deeper into flesh with every muscle movement the predator makes. They don't fall out, they migrate. Wildlife veterinarians have documented predators dying weeks after an attack, quills having traveled internally toward vital organs far from the original wound. That's why a porcupine encounter is almost always a single lesson. In the wild, an injury that takes weeks to kill is still, in the end, a death sentence. And if quills sound extreme, wait until you see what comes out of this next animal's eyes. 4. The horned lizard. Now picture chasing your prey across open desert, and suddenly blood explodes straight into your face. Cornered with no escape route, the horned lizard restricts blood flow out of its head and rapidly increases pressure around its eyes until the sinus vessels rupture, firing a thin, precise stream up to 1.5 meters directly at the attacker's mouth. Why blood, specifically? Because it isn't just fluid, it's chemically loaded with compounds that taste specifically repulsive to canid predators, coyotes, and foxes, while barely registering with birds of prey, which is why the lizard saves this tactic almost exclusively for ground hunters. Documented field encounters describe coyotes recoiling instantly, shaking their heads and pawing at their mouths within seconds of contact. The chase doesn't end in capture. It ends in confusion. Still, nothing prepares you for a body that can turn itself into a spiked bomb in 10 seconds flat. 3. The pufferfish. 1 second it's small enough to fit inside a predator's mouth. 10 seconds later, the predator can't even close its jaws. Threatened, the pufferfish draws in massive volumes of water, stretching an elastic stomach until its entire body balloons into a sphere several times its resting size. Then the defense escalates again. Normally flattened spines rise fully upright across the surface, turning a fish into a floating hazard. Here's the mini question. Is the inflated, spiked body itself the dangerous part, or just the warning stage? Just the warning. The real weapon sits underneath it all. Tetrodotoxin, concentrated in the liver and skin, roughly 1,200 times more toxic than cyanide by weight. A predator that ignores every warning up to this point rarely survives what comes next. And yet the next animal on this list doesn't need a single toxin to disappear completely. 2. The octopus. To understand why the octopus is nearly impossible to catch, picture staring directly at one from less than a foot away, and never once realizing it was there. An octopus's skin contains millions of pigment-filled cells called chromatophores, capable of shifting color and pattern in under a second, with muscular structures beneath that reshape its texture from smooth to jagged instantly. Some species go further, mimicking not just the look but the movement of other animals, flattening and gliding like a flounder, folding their arms to imitate a lionfish's spines. Most encounters end without a single movement. The octopus stays frozen while a predator passes within centimeters, trusting camouflage completely. But if it's spotted, everything changes in an instant. A cloud of ink erupts into the water, loaded with compounds that dull a predator's sense of smell and taste on contact. In the half-second of confusion that follows, the octopus is already gone, jetting backward through its own siphon before the predator understands what happened. But even perfect invisibility isn't as strange as what's coming last, because nature's final answer to survival isn't a defense at all. It's a body that ignores the rules of being alive. 1. The naked mole rat. Imagine an animal that can be starved of oxygen for 18 minutes and simply wake up afterward like nothing happened. Living almost entirely underground in East African tunnel systems, the naked mole rat has evolved a nervous system that doesn't register pain from acid or capsaicin the way nearly every other mammal does, confirmed repeatedly in laboratory studies. It shows near-total resistance to cancer at a cellular level. How does it actually survive with almost no oxygen at all? By switching its entire metabolism to run on fructose instead of glucose, a trick otherwise seen only in plants. Researchers dropping naked mole rats into zero-oxygen chambers watched mice die within seconds. The mole rats simply lost consciousness, kept their hearts beating for 18 minutes straight, and woke up when the air came back, with no damage at all. No shell, no toxin, no spines, no camouflage. Just a body that quietly refuses to follow the same rules every other mammal on this list is bound by. 10 defenses. 10 different answers to the same question. How do you stay alive when something wants you dead? Nature doesn't always build the strongest survivor. Sometimes it builds the one that simply refuses to die.